Hi guys, this is Rose with Rose Knows Money Making. So, I want to talk today about respecting the hustle. We have a young gentleman that came out here. I'm staying at my cousin Tony's right now in Ohio, if you're wondering where I'm at. I'm on the road again. But he was going up and down the street looking for yards to mow. And he was an 18-year-old. Just turned 18. He has a child with one on the way. He has a 15-month-old child and another child on the way. I gotta tell you, there's a lot of kids that want to say, they want to do the yard work and, make a couple extra dollars. And you kind of feel for them like, oh, they want to go to the movies or whatever. This kid really wanted to work. Well, we told him, we got the work, and it's kind of hard work. If you want to do the yard work, we'll pay you for it, and we'll pay you well. Well, all he had was a lawnmower, a gas can, and a weed whacker. That was it. That's what he started, and it was in the trunk of his car. So he had the hood open on his... I'll tell you what, I really respected this kid and respected his hustle. He came in, he did the, all the grass and all the trimming and all that. He went around, he did a really good job, not trimming, but weed whacking. Then we had an area of dirt that was dug up because a sewer line needed replaced. And I'm not talking about the other house, I'm talking about this house where I'm staying at on my vacation. She had a patch of like almost clay-like dirt where she wanted to put some grass seed down. She had already bought the grass seed. But digging that up and rototilling it and stuff is really hard. She's 66, I'm 57. It's a lot of work. And we knew it was going to be difficult work. And he's like, oh, I'll do that. Easy peasy. He wants to start his own lawn mowing business and his own landscaping business. He jumped right in. And let me tell you, this young kid worked his butt off. I was so impressed with how hard he worked. He really did a good job, and he did, like, he didn't get the grass seed down, but we got everything rototilled. He's coming back. My cousin Tony's going to hire him back to do more jobs around the house. He really did. So, I mean, this was a large patch. And it was very hard. I mean, I tried to jump on that twisting thing to, try and get it out. It's very, very difficult work. I really respected his hustle. And I gotta give him kudos at such a young age wanting to start his own business. Most people are like, get a job. Why make somebody else rich? If you want to do it on the side, while you're doing your job, have a side hustle. That's great because then you're earning income and you got that income coming in and it helps finances some of the garden tools and the things you need, the gas for the gas can, the string for the weed whacker. You have to respect the hustle. When these people are out there trying to get started any way they can, we tried to give them tips. Take a notebook and write down everybody's addresses and their names and phone numbers and what they had done and what they would like to have done. We gave them ideas to keep them going. He was such a good kid. Oh my goodness. When I started out cleaning houses. And I wasn't even that good. But I worked my way up until I got a couple buildings to clean. And I loved doing that. It was very difficult to keep people hired, in my business because they'd come in, they'd want to make some extra money. They do a couple shifts and then they're like, okay, I'm out. I'm done scrubbing toilets and running floor buffers and they're just not that into it. I was into it. Doing buildings was hard on myself, but when I could get the help and pay somebody to come in and help me, oh my goodness, it made life so much easier. So when you do all this, these kind of businesses, you have to pay quarterly taxes. I'm going to give you a tip. One big tip. Now, it depends on what states you live in, but you pay your taxes quarterly. Pay them early because then you get a 2% discount and you're paying less taxes. You got to keep things like that in mind. If you're going to go out and do a side hustle, maybe set back some money to buy the extra stuff you might need. If you're doing garden work, hey, you're going to go around and help people put in gardens, vegetable gardens, flower gardens, whatever. Make sure you have the proper tools. If you need the shovels and the rakes and, whatever, get them all and make sure you have a vehicle that can carry them. Now, he was a young kid and just had a small car and, you know, he did such an awesome job. I was so proud of him. And he needed the cash, probably to buy Pampers, for his kid or milk or whatever, but he was such a good kid. I was so blessed to have him come here and help Tony out because it is a lot of hard work. Me and her had been working on the flowers and putting flower beds in and stuff like that and trimming up the trees, and we kept looking at this area. She had already bought the grass seed, but it looked like such hard, difficult work. And God just sent him at the right time. There's people out there that need help and would be willing to pay somebody a little cash to help them out. Man, go get yourself some paintbrushes and some deck stains and deck paints and say, this is all I got, but would you like me to paint that deck for you? A small deck or a small back porch, or, I can get up there and scrape the, and make sure you get a paint scraper. Old paint, you got to scrape that off, run a sand roller over after you scrape it. Make sure you get that nice smooth surface, and that paint will look so much nicer once it's on. These little things help. Even if you have to go garage sales and buy used tools to get yourself started, you could do anything. Let's say you have a great vegetable garden in your backyard. Go pick up some of those fruits and vegetables, put a table out in front of your house and set some vegetables out there for sale. Get yourself some little baskets that you can put them in and sell them by the basket. It's one of the way to get rid of all those extra baskets. You can go to most thrift stores and buy baskets for 25 cents a piece. That is well worth it. Vegetables you've been growing from your own seeds, and now you're selling them off, you're going to make good money. It's extra cash flow that you get coming in. When you start a side hustle, down the road, you might have a very large garden and a really large farmer's market, thing where you're making a couple $1,000s in a weekend. That's big. So I know some big people that go out and do all the farmers markets. Do you think they started out with a huge farm? No, they started out with small gardens and they worked their way up and they built something into it, and they turned around and made it a produce stand, and then they found different areas and they hired people to work those areas to sell that produce for them. It can be a blessing down the road. You might start yourself quite a large business, and it might start out really small and really tiny. But you know what? You never know where it's going to go. And if you're earning a couple $100s extra a month, that's gas for your car. That's money to put groceries on your table. It's bill money. You can pay your bills with it. You learn to do these things, these little side hustles. They're a tremendous help. You know, I've done so many different things. My painting business was one of my big ones. I started out painting for a church that wanted, they had these cinder block walls in these rooms, these like little school rooms downstairs. And the preacher said, I want this all painted. And I'm looking at that. It's like that really porous cinder block. And I'm like, oh my, that's going to really soak up the paint. It's going to take a lot of paint. So I told him basically what I needed, and I needed paint that, you know, was going to work well on that kind of cinder block. And he went out and bought all the supplies. You know, I didn't have nothing. He went out and bought all the supplies and bought all the paint. And then he paid me. And I went down there and I painted. And I just learned how to paint really well from doing that. You know, that really porous brick was not easy to paint. And I did a really good job. I was really proud of myself. Well, then somebody called the church probably a month later, and by then I was on to other projects for him. I actually uh, did the maintenance there at this church. So somebody had called and asked if they knew of anybody that paints that could come help them out with some projects. So he tells me I go up and to see what these projects are, and the guy's first, like, he had 15 garages or whatever that, you know, where he rented out storage space. He's like, I need all these garage doors painted. Now, some were metal and some were wood. That's two different kinds of paint. So I told him what I needed, and I told him, I said I didn't have that many supplies. By then I had a few things, but not a whole lot. And he's like, that's okay. Here's the money. Go get whatever you need and bring it back and just do it. So that was nice. I was able to go get the stuff I needed, and he told me, he said, keep the tools, and, you know, whatever's paint's left over we'll use for other projects. And I did all those doors. I did them all in one day. That was not easy because I had to sand them down and paint them all, you know, clean them up before I could paint them all. And I didn't. He was so impressed that I did them all in one day and how nice they turned out. He's like, hey, I have an apartment building up here at this corner, and there's one large apartment in there. It used to be offices, but he was turning it into an apartment. He says it has like 8 rooms in it, you know, and that's including bathrooms and closets and whatever. He goes, I want that whole thing painted. So then again, there I was painting. You know, he kept me going for a very long time. Then he had a barn. He wanted me to do a barn, and I got right up on that ladder and did the barn, no problem. 40 feet up there, painting on my tippy toes. I got it all done. You know, he was so impressed with my work experience, he actually gave me a job going around as a helper for his, he had an HVAC business. So that's air conditioning, refrigeration, all that kind of stuff. And I was his helper. I went around and I did stuff with that on top of it. When I didn't have no painting to do anywhere, I went out with him, went out with his employees, and I learned how to do HVAC. You know, I learned so much. And then when somebody else needed a paint job, some painting done, guess what? He gave him my name. He goes, you gotta hire this girl. Word of mouth, I'm telling you. Next I knew it, I was out doing all kinds of jobs. I did houses, I did decks, I did all kinds of stuff. But it all started out just doing a small job for a preacher. You know, it wasn't much money, but word of mouth got out. All it takes is getting started. And then once you get started and you learn what you're doing, you can grow. Your experience grows with you. You know, you could turn anything into a business. So Tony, my cousin that I'm staying with on my vacation, she was an art teacher. And when she bought this house, she was still working as an art teacher, but she wanted a little side business. And she started her own art school. So she has this huge attic area, up in her attic, and she converted that into her studio. And then she has people come in and they pay to do art projects. And she teaches them how to do different things. Oh my goodness, that is such a great little business. If you're just looking for some kind of side job to do and you're good at that kind of stuff, say, hey, I'm going to do these art classes. Go to some place like Michael's, or what do you call them? Where they sell art supplies. And say, I'd like to set up an art class just for one day at your facility. We'll advertise for it. We'll use your product, and it will bring people into your store. And set up your own little art class. The people pay for their own art supplies. You get the word of mouth out that, hey, that you do this. And you can charge them a small fee. So you're getting, let's say you're teaching 15 people at one time. You're getting $10, $15 from each one of those people to pay for your services. And all you're doing, they're doing the work. You're teaching them how to do it. Consider this. You could really do good. I mean, eventually you could open up your own little shop somewhere doing that. People will pay for it. So there was this one place that did cake decorating classes. I always wanted to go learn how to decorate cakes. Love to bake, I'm just not good at decorating. But I always wanted to go and learn. But they do that at a lot of those kind of places. Think about that. If you're good at that kind of stuff, start calling places up and saying, I'd like to do this at your facility. You'll get the attention. You'll get, I'll do all the advertising for it, and we'll just keep it going. You'd be surprised. That kid was going around knocking on doors. Knock, knock, knock. Can I mow your grass, And he really didn't even have any set fees. He was letting the people set the fees theirself, considering almost everybody he did mow their grasses were senior citizens, and he knew that they were on a smaller budget. And that was really sweet of him to think that. But I told him, I said, come up with one fee and charge everybody that same fee unless you're doing extra stuff for them. But he definitely got some employment here. He's coming back to do some more work, and he was such a good kid. You got to respect the hustle. Any little tiny thing you do, you can turn into a business. Start a YouTube channel. Start teaching some of this stuff on your YouTube channel. And then that's your branding. Use that to convert that with your business and say, listen, I also teach this on my channel. Go watch this, and eventually you can get paid off your channel and have your business. And then you got two incomes. And then you can make little tiny Facebook reels and put it on Facebook. And if you get the Facebook invite, then you can make money on that too. And Fanbase and Twitter and all those other places that pay you. You gotta think outside the box. Okay, I'm gonna be out mowing people's grass. Why don't I take a tripod and my phone and do some videotaping of what I do and put that up? You know what I mean? You gotta realistically think about how you're gonna advertise. So it's kind of pricey to put ads in the newspaper or ads on one of those paper trays that they use in a restaurant. Uh, that stuff costs us money. Use social media to your advantage and get in the right mindset. Let me tell you. So, when I started trying out businesses, for years I knew I was an entrepreneur. I just knew that that was my life. I loved working. I loved working at my jobs. Every job I done, I've learned stuff. I just so much stuff. You really do enjoy it. You get your retirement, you got your medical and all that. Loved working, but in my mind, I knew I was a business person. But I never took business classes. I did take leadership classes, but I've never taken any kind of like business or marketing and so on and stuff like that. Now, one job did put me through a sales course, which they paid for. That was exciting and fun. Another company had paid for me to take a little 1 day marketing class. You know, you learn how to stack the fruit and all that kind of stuff. That was fun, and they paid for that. You get in jobs where they eventually get you into something where they're paying for the classes. That's a plus. Jump on it. So I've never been to college, so I never took any business or marketing classes that way, though. Although I really wish I would have. But I learned over the years, and I always had a business on the side. I've had several different businesses that I kept going, and right now I have quite a few businesses going at one time. And I allot so much time for each business and what I do with it. Um, some are easier than the others, and others is hard. But I had to create a mindset because I had people out there. They love you, they care for you. They sit there and they tell you, Rose, you're looking at things unrealistic. You're never gonna make it. Rose, you need a full-time job. That's where you make your money. You work for 50 to 70 years, then you retire. You know what I'm thinking? But what about my children and my grandchildren? I want to spend time with them. I want to be able to spend time traveling. I want to be able to spend time doing that. And if I don't make the money and make myself rich, I'm just making somebody else rich working for them. Now, I worked all my life. I worked a full-time job. I always had part-time jobs. At one time, I worked a full-time job and a part-time job for about 13 years straight. On top of it, I was cleaning houses. And you know what one of my little side hustles was? Now, you're going to think this is funny, but I actually did this, and people loved that I did this. I went around to all the consignment shops, and I told them, I said, I have my own laundry business in my house. I do your laundry. I go through and do all the washing and the drying and the folding, and I separate it by size, and I bag it up and I bring it back. Is there any work that you would like done? I tell them my fees. They'd be bringing out. I had one gentleman bring me out 10 bags of laundry at one time. He goes, all of this needs washed. He goes, I have no time. He goes, I run this facility. He goes, I'm working. He goes, I do everything. I have no time to do this laundry. He goes, and people are always donating dirty clothes. He goes, so when I'm going through it, I find the dirty clothes that goes off into a bag. He goes, I never have time to wash it. He hired me right off the bat. I went, I did his laundry. Now, I have another business where I can buy household products, and then I get paid also off of those points. So I use those household products for my cleaning business and for my laundry business. I got to buy my laundry soap from, so I was also getting paid off of the product that I was using for my other business. So you gotta really think these things through, because it really did help. Helped me big time. But I did all that. He paid me. And you know what? He called another consignment shop where he knew the owner really well. He said, "You gotta hire this girl. She just did this for me." And you know what? The guy called me. He's like, "Yeah, I heard you did such and such as I have laundry too. Can you come pick it up?" I'd go pick it up. I'd take it back to my house. I did all the washing and the drying and the folding and separating and marking it by size and bagging it up. Took it back. He was impressed. I did that for years. I loved doing that. I also did a neighbor's laundry for, I probably did her laundry for about 3 years before I had to move, and then she had to find somebody else. She couldn't pay me much. She was an elderly lady, but she could not bend over to get the laundry out of the bottom of the washing machine anymore, or to bend down to get the stuff out of the dryer. She couldn't do that anymore. So I started that laundry business. And you know what? She absolutely loved it. She goes, if I would have taken it to a dry cleaner to have it done, she goes, that would have been a fortune. Money I don't have. I did it for a cheaper rate. It was something I could bag it up, bring it to my house, wash and dry it, fold it, separate it, take it back, and it was all done for. You know, you'd be surprised what you can do that will change your life. It will change your life. So, I had found some of these old wooden ladders, like old wooden paint ladders. And I think I found like 5 or 6 of them total. And I took them back to my house and I sanded them down and I painted them with outdoor wood paint. And I picked colors like a sunny yellow and baby blue and hot pink and, mint green. I had all these colors for outdoor wood that I sanded down. I painted these ladders. And then I took them around to the garage sale, to the consignment shops and had them sell them for me. So they got a profit and I got a profit. Plus, when I set up the ladders, you fold it out and set it up, they had space to put their plants or their little knickknacks, and you could decorate it with stuff around their shop. So it was an extra place for them to put stuff too. But you know what? I was selling those ladders, $40 and $50 a piece. These were ladders that I got out of somebody's garbage. These were old paint ladders. Some of them were so splattered with paint, it was so hard to sand them down, but I did it anyway. You know what? I made a ton of money off of those ladders. And people decorated their gardens with them. They'd put them out in their garden, they'd hang their plants on them, and, it was just really cute. These are things that are easy to do things. Listen, go around and you see somebody's furniture out in the garbage, and it does not look bad. All it needs is that drawer fixed or new handles put on it, or sometimes they need sanded down and restained. Fix them up and then sell them. Sell them on Craigslist, sell them on Facebook Marketplace. You can make a good bit of money doing this. Resellers make a ton of money. I am telling you, these are the things you want to do. If you're just starting a side business and you don't know what to start, maybe start doing a couple of these different projects until you figure out what you really like or what you really want to do as a business. And keep your mindset. Don't let the naysayers bother you. When they say, just get a real job. Listen, I have a real job. I work hard at it. I also have my businesses. I work very hard at them. I want that and I need that for myself. Please do not tell me how to live my life. I realize they're doing it from the bottom of their heart. They really love you and care for you. They were raised differently. Their mindsets are different from yours. Keep that in mind. Change your mindset. You know what I mean? You can really start thinking about this and start, taking a little look at business or something, business classes on YouTube, and start taking them. Start, going in and watching them. Well, this guy does this and that guy does that and this woman does this. You learn. You learn the different techniques. You can learn, maybe get yourself one of those Cricut machines and start, decorating cups, tumblers, or whatever, and sell them at garage sales and farmers markets. You'd be surprised how many people buy that stuff up, especially when they know that you made it. They're like, oh, it's handmade. It's not, well, the cup isn't, but the design on it, and people love that. Go get yourself one of those t-shirt presses and start putting your own designs on t-shirts, and you'd be surprised what you can do. And you could really start a decent business doing it. Do it, do it, do it. It'll change your life. Even if it's just for a little bit of extra income, might make a couple $100 a month. But what if you make a couple $1,000 a month doing it? It might help you buy whatever you need or help you pay off whatever you need. It may change your life.